Greetings, friends. It's Pat, Dancing Moon Travel, with another episode of Let's Talk Travel. And as most of you know, if you follow us regularly, we typically have guests from the travel industry, some sort of segment of the travel industry. But we've departed that from that just a little bit for the month of February, even though our focus, of course, is still on travel. We're talking to some professionals that are outside of the actual travel industry. And they provide advice to clients in various realms. And we feel like good advice is good advice, whether it's in the travel industry or to other people. So I'm going to bring our guest on right now. Welcome, Dale. Well, I'm going to start. I'd like for you to just introduce yourself tonight for our guests.
Well, hi, Pat. Good to see you again. My name is Dale Wolf, and I'm a financial advisor in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Great. And Dale, while you're located here in South Florida, I know for a fact that you have clients scattered all around the country. These days, our physical location really doesn't limit us all that much, doesn't define a territory. Geography doesn't limit good advice, huh?
No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, technology's made it much easier for us, just like it is this evening. We have clients in 32 states, and the vast majority of our clients, though, are located in Florida.
Thank you, Dale. Now I know you're a financial advisor, and first thing that pops into my mind, I always think investment strategies and financial things, but you actually when you're bringing a client on board, you delve a whole lot deeper into to the just money management with them. What are some of the questions when the topics that you address when you are talking with clients about their investment strategies?
That's a great question. I think for most of our clients, it starts with the financial aspects, but it goes much further than that. Oftentimes, we get into what their dreams and goals are for the future, how they see themselves living in retirement, what their hopes are for their children. We try to make sure that we're addressing all those different areas for the client. And one of those areas that often comes up, believe it or not, is travel.
Ah, I believe it, and uh, it is it's one of those things where what people I think when they're talking about retirement they always talk about the travel that they want to do when they eventually retire, and I know that that is a big priority for a lot of people. Now I know that you probably at the point where you start talking to people anyway, the major focus is on accumulating and preserving capital, and as client do you find as clients are approaching retirement, begin to transition and move toward actually planning toward distribution of some of those assets? Is that a challenge for some of your clients when they need to change a mindset and let go and try to feel comfortable with spending some of those funds?
It's a great question, and it's a really good observation. As I've often said, they probably wouldn't be our clients if they weren't savers by nature. People that are more used to investing and saving over many years than they are overspending. If they were spendthrifts, they probably wouldn't be working with us. So, yes, it's very hard for them to kind of change their habits and patterns a little bit to begin spending a little bit of that in retirement. But I think it's quite common for almost everyone that when they get to retirement, they sort of have an unofficial bucket list of things that they really want to do. And the question is, how do they move from being someone who's been investing in savings all their life to somebody who's willing to go ahead and start living out some of those dreams?
Yeah. Do you spend a good bit of time with people in that transition period?
Oh, we
Help.
do. Yeah, we really do. Um, uh, the money management side of what we do is really the easiest part. The harder part is making sure that everything we do aligns with the client's goals and their vision for themselves and their family in the future. So, really spending a lot of time getting to know those folks and know what's really important to them, what makes them tick, and sort of what their goals are. Those are the things that really add a lot of value to the relationship.
I'm just sitting here, I'm listening to you, and I can't help but think this is a lot like what we do here. When we when we when I talk to my clients about vacations, I think sometimes they think I'm just plain nosy, but I want to delve into those kinds of things, because one person's perfect vacation is totally different from their neighbor next door. They don't enjoy the same things, have the same interests. It's very important.
Actually, I can speak to that as a client of yours myself. My wife and I had a wonderful trip this last year that you helped us set up. And I think it was such a success because you did delve into all those things, what we liked and didn't like, and sort of what sort of speed would fit us, the things that would make us really happy when we were on vacation. And we just had a wonderful time.
Right, and it's the same thing as I think about that with retirement. Uh, you know, my perfect retirement is gonna be very different from a lot of people. It is very personal, isn't it?
It is. We have some clients who really aren't big travelers, and all they want is they want their home to be that resort vacation that they live in all the time. And so they spend quite a lot of money getting their home exactly the way they want it. And then we have some people who really aren't that interested in keeping their home to that same high level. They're much more interested in going and having new experiences in different places. So it really runs the gamut.
That's interesting. Just how often you mentioned this, how often do you think it is that travel in your discussions with client, how often does that come up as a priority for clients, uh, when they're
Well, for
planning
our
for
retired clients, I'd say probably three-quarters of them have big travel plans. Um, we do have those few who don't like to travel. They love to be at home, and so they want their home to be, that perfect nest that they feel very comfortable living in. But I would say by far the majority of our clients are big travelers.
Yeah, and what do you think it is, Dale, about it seems like travel is such, it's just a hot commodity. Everybody, it seems like, really loves to travel. You said about three-fourths of your clients. And, I think probably, obviously most of the people I talk to in connection with business, love to travel. But what do you think it is about travel that is so appealing to so many?
Well, I think, I can't speak for everyone, but for my wife and I, travel's an experience that just sort of broadens everything. It helps you understand the world around you a little bit. It's also exciting to go and see new places and experience different cultures. Um, we were chatting after our recent trip to Croatia that you helped us with, and you really get to learn a lot about a culture and about its history and geography through its food as well.
Mhm.
So as we ate our way across Croatia, we had really good insights into how the land has been used over the last couple thousand years, and travel just really helps you connect to the world around you and see that really we're all a little bit the same. We all have sort of similar goals and desires. And um, at the same point in time, you get to experience some things that might be a little out of your normal day to day life. So I find it very exciting and enriching.
Yeah, and I think that's a good word, Dale. It travel is just enriching it, and people love those experiences, and one person may really like the adventure, being out hiking, and another one may just be more of a sightseer. They want to see do maybe escorted tours or have a different style of travel. But just I think it all comes down, it just enriches your life in so many different ways, expands your your boundaries and your thinking, and exposes you to other cultures and the history. Um, Croatia was one of those when you talk about history. My goodness, you go to I tell people you go to Rome and you go to Athens and you tour the ruins, but when you went to Croatia, there are those buildings that date back many centuries, like to a lot of them the same time period. There they are standing, and people are living in them and have businesses in them. So it's just a wonderful thing when you see all of these things and meet the people, taste the food. I love it. Um, I'm wondering, switching gears a little bit. I know that you certainly do you, I guess you probably encounter some people that you have to encourage along the way to save more.
Yes, that happens sometimes. Sometimes we have folks that are living a little too large for for their means, and we have a few folks like that that we coach,
To
and we try to
rein
help
them in a
along.
little.
Yeah, try to help them rein it in a little bit. Um, but I would say more often than not, it's getting people to loosen up a little bit. Again, those patterns of saving and putting off for tomorrow and things like that, these are lessons that have been ingrained into folks, and now they get to their 60s, and they put it off for a little while longer. They get into their early 70s, put it off for a little while longer, and then they can't do it. And so for Angelica and myself, we've always tried, as we've been going through our careers, we've always tried to travel every single year, to go someplace that's kind of on that list, knowing that we don't know what the future will hold. And I think for a lot of folks, 2020 and 2021 have been a real eye opener there, right? Um,
Uh-huh. Hmm.
you always think, well, I can go anytime I want. Well, we learned that you just can't go anytime you want. And so I think the real encouragement is, get out there and do some of those things that you've always talked about doing and plan to do. And, if you have an advisor, work with that advisor and make sure you're doing things responsibly, but at the same point in time, gosh, don't put off for tomorrow what you may not be able to do.
I love that advice, Dale, and I think that resonates with me so much. It's just and you see people that are so career focused and so driven, that they're almost afraid to take vacation time, and it really it gets to be a little scary because that's not good for our physical health. Uh, we need that time, that downtime, and that time just to refresh our minds and uh, experience
And
something
I think
besides.
that's something of a U.S. phenomenon, really. When I travel in other countries, people are much more likely to vacation during some portion of the year, to take that downtime. A lot of other countries, they may have 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks off in the summer, and people travel quite a bit during those times. Um, Here, everything is go, 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 and produce, 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 and save, save, save. And so people here are very work focused. It's part of our culture. So I think that we could all learn a little bit to loosen up a little bit and get out there and see the world around us.
That's good, and that's the advice that you give your clients, and I really, uh, I I think you're right on target there because I have seen that having come from the law office environment, where I spent many years. uh, I saw that so frequently where it was like, um, people were almost ashamed to take a vacation. It seemed like they were, it was just like a guilt trip if they were taking time off. And folks, it's when we come to the end of things, we're not going to remember all the hours we worked. but
Yeah.
we will remember those trips. I just want to plug in here, Dale. I showed that one image. This was Zagreb,
Yes.
where you were. This is your photo, and I think this is your photo as well.
That's in
So,
Trogir.
and
Yep.
that was one of my favorite places there in Croatia. I love that, just a small town, and it was just amazing. And here's one I took. I'm going to throw that in there, Korčula. That was just a fascinating island. The history and the just the physical way that they built that. There's this, just they designed the structure all those centuries ago. And yeah, folks, there's a story there, and you just need to go and take a tour, and they'll tell you all about it. But it really was fascinating to see how they designed the town to make the most of the wind, and the to cut down on the cold winter winds and to take advantage of the cooling summer breezes. They built that purposefully to take advantage of that. It was fascinating. Um, Dale, I wanted to turn the lens on you personally, because I know you and Angelica love to travel, and I know Croatia stands out. But what other trips? What particular trips have stand out in your memory, and uh, anything you can point to that made a particular trip so memorable?
Um, well, we've been to a lot of different places. I think Israel, we went to Israel and Jordan a few
Mm.
years ago, and I think that has always been one of our favorite trips. The history, the well, the spirituality of traveling to the Holy Land. It really helps you reconnect with your faith. I thought it was wonderful. I loved it. And of course, we've been to Greece, and Greece is probably one of the most beautiful countries to travel to. You mentioned Rome earlier. We went to Italy a few years ago, and from there into Switzerland. And that stands out in my mind as one of the most beautiful drives I ever took,
Oh,
going up over the passes through the Alps into Switzerland. That was outstanding. So um, I would say that I don't think we've ever had a bad vacation. Everywhere we go is just someplace special for us.
well, that is really good, and it takes a little planning to make that happen when the vacations all come together and are memorable for the right reasons. We've all had it, had that experience that of that memory that it stands out for the wrong reason.
We've had lost luggage and messed up reservations and things like that, but none of those things has really stood in the way of us ever having a great time.
Well, that's good. You guys are just have such a wonderful attitude too, and that helps. Just having the right mindset. Don't catastrophize if your luggage doesn't, just go pick up what you need and file that insurance claim, and say. I just have to tell you, Dale, that you and Angelica were our guests back some weeks ago. I think it was in October or early November, on an episode of Let's Talk Travel, and you were talking about the Croatia vacation. And I just have to share with you that all these weeks later, every week when I look in on our YouTube statistics and check those analytics, that interview comes up at the top. It's still being watched every week. It's the most watched. Even if we have a really good interview with a travel provider, one of the cruise lines or something, even you guys always top that. So you guys just really did a great job of talking about that vacation. And if people start watching it, they hang in there for the long term. You get long watches too. So,
Well, I
uh,
hope that some people will see that and they'll follow along and go to Croatia because it is absolutely a wonderful place to visit. And as I said in that interview, I think in all the places I've been in Europe, that's been my favorite place to travel.
it's magical. I tell people I haven't shut up about it since my trip there, because it was so unexpected, Dale. I didn't have it wasn't on my bucket list. I had no idea that it would be so magical, and I would come back absolutely so enthralled and in love with.
Same for me, Pat. My wife had been reading about it and she had watched several videos and she kept insisting. And I was thinking, why on earth would we want to go to Croatia?
Croatia.
And of course, idiot. And I should have listened to her.
Isn't the wife
And
always right?
finally I did.
So you're a good husband. My husband's like happy wife, happy life. That's the yeah. So, but hope folks, if you want to hear about more about Dale's vacation experience on into Croatia, you can check our just Dancing Moon Travel YouTube. You can find it. Just Google Dancing Moon Travel and find our YouTube and just click in there and you'll find it there on our YouTube. Uh, thank you so much. I so appreciate your taking time to share with us this evening and encourage people to think about those vacations, plan for the future, but live for today in the process, right?
It's
Uh,
all about balance, Pat, just finding that right balance. You definitely can't put off the responsibility of planning for the future. But as you're doing that, make sure you're living life at the same time. Have good balance with your family, have good balance with your work, and good balance with your play. And I think that makes for a very, very rich life.
It does, and that's what we all strive for is a rich life, isn't it? Folks, thank you for joining us as well. And this evening, I'm just going to have you type Dale in the comment section. If you want to be entered in our drawing this evening, I have $10 in Starbucks gift cards that I'm going to send out to some lucky live listener. Now, you've got to be online live. And right now is the time to enter in the comments section just Dale, his first name, and somebody will have a drawing, and somebody's going to win. Everybody loves Starbucks, just like they love travel. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you again, Dale. So appreciate you joining us.
It's a
Bye,
pleasure.
everybody.